Hello, magnificent minds, and welcome to a story pulsating with the very heart of a nation's unrest, a saga of power-broken promises, and a billionaire's audacious gamble. Prepare yourselves for a journey into the political earthquake that shook the bedrock of America. This is the moment a titan of industry with a gaze fixed on the stars turned his piercing vision toward the fractured soul of a republic. The air thrummed with a strange electricity, a palpable tension that had been building for months in the sprawling digital amphitheater of X, the stage where the world watched titans clash. It was July 2025, a summer day heavy with a humid breath of discontent and the raw scent of betrayal. Elon Musk, the name itself a thunderclap across continents, a man whose ambition in no earthly bounds had once stood as an unlikely ally to the roaring populist surge. He had walked the gilded halls of power, a whispered confidant, a force that Trump himself had courted. But something had fractured. A single colossal piece of legislation, a monstrous bill bloated with the promises of the past yet designed to plunder the future, had become the ultimate wedge. Trump's one big beautiful bill, a legislative leviathan meant to enshrine his legacy, had instead ignited a firestorm of dissent. Musk had watched as the gears of the old guard ground forward, heedless of the fiscal cliff their nation teetered upon. His pronouncements, once carefully considered, often delivered with a wry smirk through the digital ether, had turned sharp-edged weapons forged in the fires of indignation. He had warned, he had pleaded, he had threatened. If this insane spending bill passes, he had declared, his words echoing through the millions of screens that hung on his every utterance, then something fundamental must break. A new path must be carved, a true representation for a people drowning in debt and disillusionment. The bill had passed. A political act of defiance, a brazen display of business as usual, even as the foundations of the nation groaned under the weight. And with its passage, a switch flipped within the mind of the man who dared to dream of Mars. It was not a calculated political maneuver born of polling data or focus groups. It was a visceral, gut-wrenching response, a surge of anger and a desperate hope for something truer, something bolder. The whispers had begun months ago, faint at first like the distant rumble of thunder on a clear day. Could he truly do it? Could Elon Musk, the disruptor of industries, the conqueror of space, the master of electric dreams, actually tear down the very fabric of American politics? The idea was preposterous. Third parties withered on the vine, crushed beneath the monolithic weight of the duopoly. But Musk was no ordinary man, and this was no ordinary time. The nation bled from 1,000 wounds, its people exhausted by endless partisan bickering, the hollow promises of career politicians. They yearned for a voice, untainted by the old machines of force that spoke of logic, of innovation, of a future beyond the endless squabbles of the past. Then came the poll. A simple question flung into the digital void on Independence Day, a cruel irony for a nation that felt anything but free from its political shackles. Should we create the America Party? The results were not just a landslide, they were an avalanche. A deafening roar from the heartland, from the forgotten cities, from the silenced masses. Over 5.3 million votes cast, an overwhelming 81% screaming yes. A mandate not from the political elite, not from the wealthy donors, but from the very people whom the system claimed to serve. And then the declaration. A short, sharp tweet, a digital decree that sent shockwaves through Washington and reverberated across the globe. By a factor of 2 to 1, you want a new political party and you shall have it. When it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy. Today, the America Party is formed to give you back your freedom. The words burned themselves into the collective consciousness, a rallying cry, a declaration of war against the entrenched powers. It was raw, it was direct, it was unmistakably Elon. The immediate aftermath was pure chaos. Washington convulsed, political strategists, their carefully constructed models shattering like glass, stared at their screens in disbelief. Pundits screamed on cable news channels, their voices laced with a mixture of fear and derision. Trump himself, the master of disruption, suddenly faced a mirror image, one infinitely wealthier and far less predictable. He lashed out, calling Musk's venture ridiculous, a train wreck, something that would only bring complete and total disruption and chaos. The irony was lost on no one. The man who had ridden a wave of disruption to the highest office now feared the very force he embodied. The established Republican Party, reeling from the uncharacteristic open defiance of one of its most prominent benefactors, felt the ground shift beneath its feet. This was not just a billionaire flexing his muscles, this was a direct challenge to their dominion, to their carefully curated base. The rift was no longer a crack, it was a chasm widening with every passing hour. Musk, meanwhile, remained unperturbed, almost serene in the eye of the storm he had unleashed. He was not engaging in the petty squabbles he was building. He had already appointed Vaibhav Taneja, Tesla's trusted CFO, as the treasurer and custodian of records for the nascent party. This was not a hobby, a mere vanity project. This was serious. This was structural. This was the meticulous mind of an engineer applying itself to the most broken system on Earth. The Federal Election Commission databases, though initially showing a flurry of dubious filings, quickly began to reflect the gravity of the situation. Legitimacy was being forged in the digital fire. The vision he articulated was stark and clear. Fiscal responsibility, a government leader smarter, more accountable. An America that looked forward, not backward. An America that embraced technology, not feared it. An America that built, not borrowed. He spoke of targeting a few key congressional seats in the 2026 midterms, not a presidential run, not yet. He understood the long game, the slow erosion of an established order. This was not about seizing immediate power, it was about reshaping the very priorities of governance. It was about creating a swing bloc, a decisive vote in the narrowly divided chambers. It was about leveraging his immense wealth, his global platform, his legion of devoted followers to force a realignment. The whispers of his initial plan to primary every Republican who had voted for the big beautiful bill now morphed into a more potent threat. The America Party would be the vehicle, the instrument of accountability. It would champion candidates who echoed his call for fiscal sanity, for technological advancement, for a government that worked for its citizens, not against them. The political establishment scoffed. They cited Duverger's law, the iron rule of two-party systems where smaller parties invariably failed to gain traction. They pointed to the historical graveyard of third parties. But Musk lived to defy impossible odds, to rewrite the laws of physics and economics. This was his next frontier. His foray into the labyrinthine world of politics was being watched with bated breath by allies and enemies alike. His past political donations, a history of backing both Democrats and Republicans, now seemed like mere explorations compared to this full-blown assault on the status quo. He had endorsed Andrew Yang, a proponent of universal basic income, a concept Musk himself had expressed sympathy for. He had even briefly supported Kanye West's independent run, a testament to his unpredictable nature. But this was different. This was his party, his vision, his ultimate bet on the future of America. The reverberations were felt far beyond Washington. Wall Street analysts watched Tesla's stock price with nervous apprehension. Would his political ambitions distract him from his corporate responsibilities? Would this foray into the political arena alienate investors? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent had publicly urged him to focus on his businesses. Investment firms like Azuria Partners even delayed the launch of Tesla-linked ETFs, citing uncertainties over Musk's political commitments. There were calls for Tesla's board to intervene to clarify his priorities, but Musk seemed energized by the fight. His social media platform X became the nerve center of this new political movement, a constant stream of thoughts and pronouncements, a direct line to the people, bypassing the traditional media gatekeepers. He was using his greatest weapon, his unparalleled megaphone, to directly rally the disillusioned, the disenfranchised, a quiet majority who felt and heard unrepresented. He wasn't just talking about politics, he was making it live on the digital stage for millions to witness. The story of the America Party was only just beginning, a tumultuous, unpredictable journey into the heart of a divided nation. It was a narrative steeped in the raw emotion of a citizenry craving change and the bold ambition of a man who believed he could deliver it. The stage was set, the players were in motion, and the future of American politics hung precariously in the balance. And remember, if you're enjoying this epic journey into the future of American politics, please like and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me bring these powerful stories to life.